Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today's video is going to be a video on where to ant during the early spring. Now I'm going to be generally talking about the area that I live in mainly, which is inside of the northern part of the US. Now some parts of the northern US, like mine, still actually has snow on the ground. In fact, we're supposed to get some more snow a little bit later on in this week, well, the week that I'm actually editing this and doing the voiceover. Make sure that before anting that you check the temperature. Make sure the temperature is around about 50 to 70 degrees plus. This should ensure that there is in fact some type of ant active, but still when you're in the 50s range, that is mostly just for scouting out places, which is what I'm doing in this footage here. A good thing to do before actually choosing a place to go anting is to go ahead and scout out the surrounding area of where you might think that good ants might be. Good things to consider for a good anting spot includes running water like this here creek. Another thing to consider is soil type, such as, a sandy type of area. Sand is very good for insulating and it causes the ground to be a whole lot hotter because it holds that heat very well, especially when it's a sunny day like it is on the day that I was recording all this B-roll footage. It makes it more likely for ants to actually be out and about instead of areas that are silty or clay or pretty much any other soil type. It makes sure that the ground is going to be warm pretty much. Once you've scouted out the place that you want to ant or have a possible area of anting, then go ahead and start looking for ants. That's always the main thing when it comes to scouting out for places, is actually look for the ants themselves. The place I'm at today was actually a place that I scouted out a long time ago and actually worked pretty good. I ended up finding tons of different ant species in this little area. Also a good thing to do is just try to have fun. As you can see here, I'm just stepping directly down off of a very steep incline that has a bunch of sand. Just, have fun with what you're doing pretty much, because it's rather boring. You have to figure out, a way to entertain yourself sometimes, especially on days that are 50, like it is on that day that I was recording. A good thing to check out is also for pieces of wood that are flippable, or pieces of wood that might have carpenter ants or formica inside of them, like this piece of wood or that piece of wood, kind of lasting as in it's all rotted and pretty much gone anyways. Look for rocks to flip, look for, as I said, logs to flip, even bark to pull back. Pretty much, check out for anything that looks like it might in fact harbor ants. This is exactly what I did, and upon ripping up this piece of wood that was directly in the sunlight, I managed to actually find a formica colony. This wasn't even a planned thing. I didn't even know this colony was even in here until all of a sudden I decided to rip at this little piece of wood that was sticking out of the ground, and wouldn't you know it, I ended up finding something. Which also reminds me of another good way of actually keeping track of areas is actually getting a type of map that you can edit and put pins on interested areas. And pretty much just mark, Formica species found here, or Lacey species found there, or whatever, Just make a list of all the species that you have found. I used to do this since Google actually allowed you to do this using Google Earth, but I don't know if they do it anymore because I ended up stopping. Another good way of figuring out what ants live in your area is actually to bring another ant keeper, possibly a more experienced ant keeper from your area or from a different part of the state. This is good because it allows to have more than 2 eyes on this area. You will become much more thorough when you have more than one person. Even, honestly, the more the merrier. If you can get more than 2 people, then you will be able to make so much ground in finding new stuff in an area. It will be a complete blast. Another way, but it isn't exactly the most effective way, is actually to just ask around locals. That is going to be a little bit more awkward because you're just going to be asking them if they've seen any interesting looking ants before, and they'll just probably look at you weird and either not answer or tell you, oh, I've seen this red and black ant, I think they're called fire ants, as the case for here in northern Wisconsin. These ants, like Formica ulci, are always misidentified as fire ants for some reason. Another good way to end up actually trying to find a place to go anting is try to find an area that is undisturbed, or at least is barely undisturbed, like this lonely road that is pretty much almost abandoned. As you can see, there's a huge pothole. But anyways, that is the end of this video. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, subscribe if you're new, check out my Instagram, and check out my Patreon if you want to support me. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.